What is up, you guys? If this is on a little slant, I'm sorry about that. I've been trying to adjust this, and I feel like it's camera 1, me 0, but that's okay. Let's hop right into this. I don't know why I'm leaving these to last minute in my day, but today was just one of those weird days where you're like, I slept the whole day because I wasn't feeling it, and now it's like, I woke up at 8 p.m. and I'm like, this should be illegal. Like, I feel assaulted when things like this happen. Okay, what I want to talk about is I want to talk about going on a quote unquote alternative education route, but just like personal development in education and investing in courses and why it's so important. So, there have been so many courses and so much investing that I've done in myself and so much learning, but it honestly gives you such an edge. Like, why it's important is it gives you an edge in whatever you're studying. And I feel like at the start, because so many people are like, well, is this the right course? Is this the right information? I don't know if I'm going to get any value out of it. And then there's like all these doubts, like, is this the right book that I should be reading? Is these the right techniques? And it is hard because no matter what area you're going into, I feel like there's kind of this amount of just literal bullshit that you have to go through to be able to actually get to the actual good stuff and figure out what the trends are in that market or the trends are in that profession or thing that you're studying, whatever the case may be. And I feel like you kind of have to pay your dues by going through all of this stuff that it's not that it doesn't really work, but it's just not the simple system that you would need. For instance, I'll just give you an example. That way you can kind of understand what I mean. So, for instance, I absolutely love health and fitness. This has definitely been the thing that I've put the most time into and the most amount of focus, effort, the most amount of money, the most amount of courses was just learning how to properly nourish my mind, my body, and ultimately my goal in health and fitness was to feel good and to have a diet that makes me feel good and feel proud and feel confident, to feel sexy, and to have a body that I absolutely am in love with and that I'm proud of. And also to say, okay, if you could make changes to your body or whatever the case may be, to reach a point where, and I'm not recommending this for you, but for me right now, the only changes that I would make in my body, well, I'm pregnant right now, so that doesn't really count. But when I wasn't pregnant and when I was really loving my body and feeling myself, then the only changes I would make in my body was I would get some chin filler or, oh, I would get some Botox here or whatever. But there was no I want a flatter stomach, I want a bigger butt, I want this to change in my legs. Obviously, there's a few things I would tweak, but overall, if you lined up a bunch of different, bodies, I'm pretty sure I would pick mine because it was I designed that, I built that, and obviously, you can't change your frame, okay? And I feel like most women, if you were okay, you could have a BBL and you could have the nicest tits in your mind that you want and you could create that, of course, that's another level. But for my frame and for the work that I've done in the gym and everything, there's nothing that I'm you know what, I'm unsatisfied with that. And so I had to go through all of this other shit to actually get to that point of understanding and having the knowledge and the information that I could use to actually move forward in my journey. Because at the start, you're so lost and it makes no sense. And then as you go on and you actually apply the information, because you can't just do this, there's no such thing as learning just through a book or learning just through a video or learning just through a course. You need to really learn a bit, take that stuff, jump into action with it, and let go of the fear if it's right or wrong. And I operate with this. I always tell myself this. It's frequency over greatness. And so what that means to me is that you should do something so many times. Your frequency is what matters more. How many times you show up, how many reps you do, over how good it is, how perfect it is, and how right it is, or whatever the case may be, how good you feel in it. Like, I went to spin the other day. I did not feel good in my skin. I didn't feel great doing the workout. I knew that I wasn't keeping up with the class. I had all of these things, and I don't care because I have frequency over greatness. And so, obviously, I'm probably in a different position than you are because I'm pregnant right now, and that changes a lot of things with your body. But nonetheless, like, even if you're not, you can still have those thoughts come up. You can still have that mindset where you start to like doubt yourself, and then you don't want to, put yourself in those situations. And I literally went home from that, and I told my boyfriend, I was like, wow, you know, it really put it into perspective for me how daunting doing something that like that would be. But I've built the mindset so that it's not daunting for me, and I'm willing to show up again, and I'm able to laugh at myself because I don't really take myself that seriously, and I don't care what people think about me. It doesn't matter. I care what I think about me more than anyone. And so people are like, wow, I love your pregnant body, na na na, and I'm like, I don't give a shit what you think. I don't, I'm not loving this. I'm excited for this to change. I'm excited to get back into the gym. I want fucking abs, and I want an ass that's popping. And I don't care what you say, because until I have that, I'm not satisfied, and I'm not going to stop until I get it. But that aside, I understand that part of it. I understand the being self-conscious. I understand all of that. Like, I went through that at the gym in the start, and it's just been such a long time that I've gone through that. I just recently got a taste of that because I've been out of the gym. I've been out of spin, out of yoga, out of all of these things, that I, came home and felt sore for like almost a week. Like, my glutes are still sore, and we're Monday today, and I went like middle of the week last week. So it's just, I had a moment of being a beginner again, which is totally fine because I have the mindset to not give up and to understand that this is like just a moment. My dad was talking to me about this today. He was talking about how he's reading a book, and it's one of his favorite bands. And there's like, basically, it took them 5 years of like going into like clubs and just playing, but like the people weren't there for them, and they weren't really interested in like the music that they were playing and whatever. But this was like the dues that needed to be paid so that they could actually become famous and then end up being like, made it, being stars, being, big, and actually having a name for themselves. But they did that for 5 years. And then it was funny because my dad said, that's where a lot of people give up in the journey. And then my dad was actually in a band, and then it ended up not working out in this period of time, where he's like, wow, I can relate to that because I remember I was there, and it just feels like it's all of this work and you're not actually seeing any progress. And it's understandable, but when you have the mindset of like being on the other side and being successful in it, then you see that and you're like, oh, I understand that. And I also understand why people would be, afraid to go into a spin class. Why would you be afraid to go to a yoga class? Because when you've been on both sides of it, then it makes a lot of sense. But so many people, and we were speaking of this as well, so many people, they see what you've built, and they see, the confidence that you have when you go into the gym, the body that you built, the butt that you have, the abs that you have, the shoulder striations, whatever your thing is, right? And then you see that, and then you put them on a pedestal for that, and then you kind of assume that they didn't go through all of that shit before because you don't see it. The only reason that your eye is caught by that person is because you see the level of mastery that they've attained in that. And then so many people discount the fact, they're like, you know what, she was probably never self-conscious walking into the gym. Yes, I was. I was actually like, 8 years into the gym. I tried a new exercise and I felt fucking awkward. And, granted, I'll be honest with you, not every day was like that. After 8 years, I was very fucking confident walking into the gym. It's like my second home. But at the start, I hired a personal trainer, and I told him, you're my bodyguard because these men are so big, they scare me. And I mean, I don't know what someone would think if, I would laugh. Like, if someone said that to me, I would be like, oh my gosh, probably not to their face, but like internally, I would be like, oh man. I've been there, and I was totally fucking intimidated at the gym. I wouldn't even go upstairs. Like, I started in one of the Good Lifes, and in the Good Life that I had, we had the personal training area downstairs, we had cardio downstairs, and then we had like the Fit Fix, which is like those 10 basic machines that you do, and then upstairs we had like all the free weights and everything that's worth doing. And I started out with my personal trainer, and they do have like some of that stuff down there, but not to the extent of what it is upstairs. And I told him, I was like, I cannot even go upstairs. Like, I'm too scared. So we're just staying down here. And I'm not going up there because it's just a no for me. But back to the value of investing in personal development and training and stuff like that. No matter what your thing is, you do have to pay those dues. You do have to go through, not the best education, not the best practices, do the frequency over greatness, keep your mindset in check, keep on going through the mundane, awkward, gross feeling stuff, keep your eye on the prize, understand, like, everyone says this, and I feel like when they say this, it doesn't resonate with me, and so I wouldn't expect it to resonate with you, but I understand why they're saying it, only because it makes sense. Okay, so let me break this down for you. So everyone says, figure out what your why is. Find out what your why is. What is your why? Okay? And then I've heard like a saying before where it says like your why should make you cry. Okay? So you need to have a lot of emotion attached to why you're doing this, and then, whatever, but why? Why do they say that? Why is that important? What does that mean? And knowing that is the thing that in the back of your mind is going to be that grit that you need to literally never give in when things start getting hard. So let me give you an example. I went out, I was knocking doors in Alberta. Here's a good why. So I had probably like $400. I got out there. I had my paid ticket for me by the company that had hired me to go work for them. And then I wanted to quit. I wanted to give up. I was crying in ditches. And I couldn't because I didn't have enough money to get home. So there's a why right there. You literally put yourself on an island and you burn the ships. And then another reason that I wouldn't make the call was, or another, this should be associated to my why. So another thing that's associated to my why was I'm not giving up in a moment where I'm losing. So when you're winning, you're feeling so good. When you're losing, you want to quit. And I made a commitment to myself and I said, you're never going to give up in a moment when you feel like you're losing. You're only going to give up when you're winning. So when you're winning, you make the call, and that will be that. But until you get there, you're not budging on this. You're just going to focus on this one thing and then you're going to go. And so many people, they want their why to be like something fucking soapy and pink and frilly and whatever. No, your fucking why is like, okay, I'm going to feel like giving up. And what am I telling myself at that point in time to keep myself focused on that thing? Because, okay, so if someone would have asked me what my why is, well, I've always wanted to be a multimillionaire. I wanted to build the foundation of understanding sales and understanding cold calls and understanding how to knock on doors. I wanted to understand the art of selling, but actually be able to like practice it instead of just study a book and understand the concept and think that I'm, arrogant fucking hot shit and I know it all because I read one book on it once 50 years ago. I'm not going to be that person. I'm going to go out into the field. I wanted to learn sales. I wanted to get better at communicating with people, and I wanted to pick the hardest thing out there to do. Is that what kept me committed when I was crying in a ditch? No, I wasn't crying in a ditch thinking, why did I start this commission? Oh, well, my why is that I really want to improve my communication skills and I want to learn sales from the ground up because I want to be a multimillionaire. No, that didn't give me the fucking spark to keep on going. What gave me